We want to welcome the press, and we appreciate your petting, but it ended up being a little longer. Some, in fact, we told don't come. They were at the committee dealing with the report process and so on, so we asked them to stay there. So there are some we can account for, others not too sure, but those of us who were here were here. We deliberated on the two bills especially that are very controversial, the UPDF Amendment Bill and the Political Parties Amendment Bill. And we said that we shall be in the House today. That's the decision that we took. And we were in the House today. We said we shall, before 10 a.m., be in the House. And I want to appreciate colleagues because they were in the House before 10 a.m. And as we agreed, there's been issues with these two bills especially. Number one, it was obvious the state seemed hell-bent to pass the bill willy-nilly. Consultation was not conducted as is provided for within the law for different stakeholders to have their input into these bills. I raised this matter at least twice last week, asking the Speaker, please avail time. This business of ambushing the different stakeholders, whether it be political parties, law society, and other stakeholders, NGOs, and so on, to bring their input into the bill on the very morning. Letters were reaching them in the morning and saying, come right now. That's not consultation as is envisaged under the law. And the Speaker promised that she will avail time. As we went into the weekend, the joint committee was processing this bill, meaning that stakeholders were locked out, their views disregarded. That means that's not a law for the people, because laws are made for the people, and that's why there's provision for them to be consulted, and there's 45 days provided for within the law. That was flouted. We did hear the government chief whip who said something very interesting, political or otherwise. He represents government. And one of these bills, the most controversial one, was a government bill, the UPDF Amendment Bill. He said, for us, we have decided that this bill is going to be passed in its form, in its shape, as it is. So, government, why did you then bring that bill to Parliament? If you wanted to pass it, why did you not just decree, like Idi Amin Dada used to do? Decree and say this is law. Because when you bring the bill to Parliament, that means you're going to subject it to scrutiny of members of Parliament, of committees, and different stakeholders. But they were saying, no, for us, we have decided it will pass as is. Meaning even the input of committees and other stakeholders was disregarded totally. We said, let's go to the House and raise this matter again, because that's our platform. And we said we are not going to make it easy for them. So this morning, we went to the House, and as you saw, I did raise this matter for the umpteenth time to say, Madam Speaker, can we proceed within the law? You cannot bring reports when there's not been time for consultation. That means they are reports of just a few people. We also got information that the majority committee report of the Joint Committee must have been generated. We don't know whether it be from State House or wherever, but members were just called to sign, because yesterday they left the hotel where they were before the report was worked on. They went to State House in Entebbe. They did not return to the hotel where they were processing together as a joint committee. Even for our colleagues to be able to have their minority view heard, to say, okay, now this is what you have processed as a joint committee, but we are disagreeing. They did not go back to the hotel. Instead, this morning, we understand they were just called and said, you come and sign. Where? Parliament or whatever. So they were just coming to append their signature. That means even the committee process did not end as it should have. Because that's how you produce committees. I mean, committee reports. You sit, agree, disagree, produce either one report or multiple reports. But they ran away, and they did not go back. I want to appreciate our colleagues on the committee who put in a lot of effort, because as we were seeing the direction the majority committee report was taking, they said, let's be the voice of reason, and they put together very good thoughts and a very good minority report, which I believe the country will have occasion to look at, the members of the general public. Very good report. These people did not sleep. I spoke to them late in the night, got to them again early morning, and they were still up putting together an amazing minority report. But of course, as we got to the House this morning, it became clear the Speaker was not interested in following due process. When we were saying, but there's not been adequate time for consultation, why are you hurrying this? What's the hurry about? Speaker was saying, oh no, you wait for the Bills Committee stage, you will raise that matter. But we're saying before the Bills Committee stage, we are raising this issue procedurally now. Because once you go to the Bills Committee stage, you cannot go back and get stakeholder views. You can't, you'll have moved. And clearly we realized they were not interested in that. We said, no, this is a sham process. And we agreed we shall not be part of a sham process. And we are categorical about calling this a sham process, because once a bill has not gone through the consultation that is envisaged under the law, it is sham. This same bill goes against the ruling of the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court was saying civilians have no place going before military courts. Even soldiers, by the way, who were beneficiaries of the ruling of the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court said even these soldiers, for offenses that are provided for within the Penal Code Act, take them to the civilian courts. Only service offenses, internal disciplinary issues, should be tried by these disciplinary courts. But clearly, government was saying, we shall flout that too. So we said, we have made our case. We have made every effort to try and appeal to the reason of the Speaker, and she has failed. So we said, no, we are not going to be part of sanitizing a sham process. We chose to leave them to continue with their sham process. And we have taken a decision that we are going to court over these matters, because we have adequate grounds. One, of course, Article 92 of the Constitution is being flouted. The decision of the Supreme Court is being disregarded. But two, there was no consultation. And you say these people are not smart. Even when you want to do something, you have an end in mind. At least you consult. Listen to the various views of different stakeholders. Then you can disagree with them. But first listen to them. They did not want to do that. I mean, in the past, we have been part of bills which we disagree with and so on, but we remain up to the very end, put out our minorities and so on. And then we say, okay, the majority have had their way, but the minority have had their say. In this case, they did not even want the minority to have their say. That's why we said we will not be part of that sham process. So we are going to court to raise these grounds. One, we are telling court, government and parliament for that matter is in contempt of a decision of court, the Supreme Court at that. Number two, due process was not followed. There was no consultation. Even the way the majority committee report was arrived at, it was sham. And that's the matter. We want to take this matter to court and put the courts to the test. And we are glad that sometimes when the courts are put to the test, they do come out, like they did in the matter, this very matter. Because the matter went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, no, civilians should not be taken to military courts. We are hoping that the courts will speak out again in defense of their space. And of course, we know that there's different stakeholders that have hinted on a possibility of going to court, whether it be civil society organizations and others. We'll connect with them. We'll connect with them so that we get to have a joint suit and be able to put this matter to the test. Some things we might not tell you everything. Yeah, it's also not very wise to give a blueprint of literally everything. Yeah, what's important is we did inform you that we shall be in the house today at 10 a.m. because that's our house. They can deploy, you've seen drones all over, they can do whatever and all of that, but it is our house. So we said we shall be here at 10 a.m. And whatever happened after that has happened. But we were in the house at 10 a.m. and that was very important. We had the option of not showing up today. Yeah, as some people were saying. But we said, no, this is our house, it is our space. We shall be in the house at 10 a.m. And we were. Do we have trust in the courts of law? Look, there are still judges who are very concerned about this country. And you've seen some progressive decisions. And that's why you see Mr. Museveni many times is always castigating some of these judges, saying, some of you bad judges, you should stop releasing people on bail and so on and so forth. Yeah, because there are some judges who are saying, but the law is the law. Why do you hold somebody for donkey's years without releasing them on bail? It is wrong. So they are there, and we believe we shall be able to appeal to that school of thought. Besides, it is the same Supreme Court that issued this ruling. So we are saying, this was your ruling. Fight to see to it that it is upheld. Somebody asked disagreement from some members. Yeah, that can happen. And that's why we normally agree to meet. Yesterday we were here. The number you see today is a lot more than that which was here yesterday. So if for one reason or another some members were not here yesterday and they are unhappy and so on, I am a leader, and you know, these are leaders, these are mature adults and leaders in their own right too. You're not going to get a stick, look for people, where are you? Come here for this meeting, and so on and so forth. No, that cannot happen. We respect one another. So when we call for a meeting, some will show up, some might not show up. Maybe you'll hear them quarreling. Why did you decide the way you decided, even when they were not present? There's nothing I can do for them, because this is not a school. I'm going to get a chiboko and I begin to whip fellow leaders, because even the chief opposition whip, he whips within the rules. He will invite members, you know, reach out to them, please come and attend plenary, attend committees, attend meetings, and so on. But he's not going to arrest any member. Yeah. So we keep moving nonetheless, because you see, in the run up to all of this, you've been seeing all that's been happening. Some people you will not whip. You know, some people you will not whip. We told you about the 100 million shillings, for example. And we said NRM people got it. But even some opposition, not all, but some. How am I going to whip those people who were paid to frustrate this process and to make sure the bill passes as is? But you do what you have got to do, because ultimately we are accountable to the people of Uganda. Yes, Canary has asked, said we were going to be in the house. Yes, we were in the house by 10 a.m. You saw that our side had more members than the NRM side, because that's what we promised, that we shall be in the house. And we were in the house until we took a decision. Now let's step out. Juma says, I single-handedly took this decision. How would you know that? Do you know who I consulted with and all of that? You've not sat in our meetings and all of that. We meet as leaders to discuss, paint scenarios, and some things we'll say we'll follow up. Let's keep in touch with each other and so on and so forth, and then you move. What's important is that we get to meet and share ideas, and consultation keeps happening. And even as we agreed that as events unfold, we keep monitoring and pushing through. Maybe if the speaker had hearkened to our plea that let's allow for proper consultation to happen, perhaps we would still be in the house right now. Because that's what we're saying. Don't hurry this. There's no need to hurry it. Listen to all the different views. There's no reason for us to hurry to second and third reading and so on. It's still within our control. There's nothing burning that we must hurry. There's no legal deadline that we are trying to beat. It's not like the appropriation bill, which must have been passed by a particular date. And even with the appropriation bill, you have an entire financial year to get ready. So you cannot hurry members in the last week. You had an entire year to prepare. But this particular one does not even have a deadline by which we must have passed it. And that's what we're saying. So perhaps if the speaker had listened to that appeal, we would still be in the house. But here we are. Ramson, minority meant to be from the major. By the way, the minority actually included the issues of no consultation and all of that. So some issues were really expected. Also the breakage of Article 92 of the Constitution, which we have been talking about all this while, all those were captured. So yes, I stick to what I said, that our minority report was a very good report. And we'll share. Ugandans will read it and see the depth therein. And I again congratulate our colleagues who stayed up all night to put this amazing document together, including 1 or 2 NRM folks. Gloria, if minority report was a good one, why not wait to table it? You see, you also don't want to, I mean, you can't keep walking into a ditch and you keep walking. You see that this is a ditch. You told the speaker, this is wrong. Let's rectify. There is still time to rectify. She said, no. So why do we keep moving and falling into a ditch? Why? Tweheo, maybe you should have fought some clauses. Did you see space for that to happen? Because we are talking about no consultation having happened. Maybe the different stakeholders were not going to oppose the entire bill. Maybe. But that space was not accorded to them. So now at this point you cannot even say, maybe you should have said to fight this clause or the other or whatever. No one wanted to listen to that reason, and that's why they locked out everybody. Bale, yeah, some are unhappy, some are happy. That's leadership. You've got to take a decision, and all of us take decisions at our different levels. You know, when you wake up as a journalist, you go to work, you'll take some decisions. Some people will be happy with them, but you've got to take a decision and stand by it. After years considering many options, painting different scenarios, consultations here and there, and then you take a decision. By the way, whatever decision you take as a leader will impress some and it will annoy some. But once you are sure as a leader that this is the right decision, you have bounced it off a few people here and there, you move. Because indecision is worse than even a bad decision. When you remain undecided, it's problematic. So you take a decision. Some will be happy, some will be unhappy, but that's leadership. Damali, did you get scared of the beatings and that's why you've moved out of parliament? But you see, even here where we are, if they want to come and beat us from here, they can come. By the way, the most protected part of this building is the chambers. That's the most sacrosanct part of this building, which you don't expect anyone to just walk in anyhow. But they have raided it severally, you know. So even here where we are seated, they can still come. People have been abducted from their homes and eventually taken to the military courts and so on, waylaid and so on and so forth. So you can't say that, let me go away from here and go here, that I'm safe here. No. These law breakers, they don't care about the law. They can find you wherever. Are we going to court over both bills? Like we have said, both bills are problematic. There was no consultation for both bills. Really, there wasn't. Of course, one is more contentious than the other because one bill is about life. People, the Machetes, the Kalanzis, and so on, they have been in jail for coming to 5 years now. They don't know their fate. So it's a matter of life and death. Some people have been sentenced to death by the military courts. Others, you know, you have seen Mr. Museveni's son, Muhoozi, saying, I am going to arrest this one, I will lock you up, take you to the basement, beat you up, and so on. So this would be handing him now the law to use to do whatever he has been doing outside the law. Yeah, so, but both bills are problematic, and yes, we are engaging with different legal minds, and then we pursue the court direction.